So, when you have completed your studies, right, now the idea is to marry the two together. So what that means is you've done those simplified studies of drapery and the costuming in part one, right? So you've analyzed what the simple forms might be. This allows you to rotate your figures better in perspective, in different angles, and still get the same costuming result. But now, of course, you want to train your stylization as well. And then this is exactly why we do this exercise. So when you've analyzed your favorite artists and like really like I just did now, right? I kind of rushed over it, but like really internalize shapes that they're using, how they are cleverly indicating all types of folds, what makes their style their unique style, right? Because if you understand that, it will be easier for you to apply certain things that you like from that artist. You don't want to become a copycat, and I've said this a lot, right? If you only copy one artist, you are a copycat. If you copy multiple, you become more original, right? That's just the fact of the matter. And every artist, even the best ones in the world, they've all emulated a myriad of different artists. And so the only thing you're trying to do is understand what they do, because once you understand what they do, you can use things from their arsenal and use it in your own arsenal. That's the only thing I'm trying to facilitate with this assignment. And so now you're going to basically look at the costume that you've established in part one, the simple volumes that you've established for that costume, right? So this is P1, and then you've studied your favorite artist, you've internalized some of the shapes that they're using, which is P2 assignment, P2A, and now in part 2B, you're essentially going to apply all of that knowledge. So now I'm going to try and do the same. So what I saw, for instance, from Clément is that he likes to emphasize those sleeve holes a little bit. And so I'll do the same. So I'm not going to keep it as shallow as you see it in the reference. I'm just going to really emphasize it, make it a little bit more graphic, make it a little bit more of a statement. Use a little bit of that overlap that I saw from Clément. For this demo, I'm only going to focus on the clothing, but of course I advise you to try to do it on every part of the costume itself. So the thing I'm still considering, guys, when I'm doing these stylization exercises, I'm still looking at those simple volumes that I've established in part one, right? The ones that you can see here, for instance, for this shirt. I'm still thinking about this as being somewhat of a manipulated cylinder, right? That manipulated cylinder now, of course, also has folds on top of it. But still, for my internalization, especially if I want to turn this character in space and apply the same type of stylization as what I've learned from this artist, I just need to know those simple shapes, at least for me, right? Because if I don't, it gets harder to, one, know what kind of folds I need to apply, and two, get a sense of my spatial awareness, right? So I want to keep that spatial awareness essentially active at all times. Right, so let's apply a little bit of, that loosey-goosey stuff that we saw from Clément. All right, now we come to the pants. And here's what I really want you to think about everything, by the way, like just like I did with the sleeves. This is your opportunity to break some rules, right? A lot of you will want to follow the everything as you see it in the picture. You'll have a tendency to follow this exact contour that you see of the pants that we have right here. Now, because you're learning this stylization, this is your opportunity to bend those rules, right? To not be as literal as you would normally be. And so based on this that I've established, I'm now going to apply it somewhat similarly, but I'm going to apply that stylization that I learned from Clément right now, right? So that I have something that kind of mimics his style a little bit more. It'll never be exactly Clément. I'm not trying it to be. I'm just trying to incorporate some of his, some of the spirit of his drawings. Still trying to think about what kind of folds I'm trying to communicate here, right? So some drop folds, some zigzag folds, some half lock folds, some folds that really fit into each other. Maybe adding some of that seaming just as an excuse. If it's good enough for Clément, it's good enough for me, even though we don't necessarily see it in the reference. Goddamn brush. Those helmets are always tricky. All right. So I think this shoulder could be a little wider. There we go. Cool. So I'd say that's about all I wanted to show you guys.
All right, and now for your assignment for this lesson, which basically is repurposing what we've already studied, you're now going to repurpose both one of the mannequins that you did in lesson 3, one of the sleeves that you studied in lesson 4, one of the trousers that you studied in lesson 5, one of the jackets that you've studied in lesson 6, and one of your dynamic mannequins that you studied in the last lesson of module 2, right? So one of each of these lessons, you are now going to repurpose the stylization that you've just studied in lesson 1 onto the things you've already drawn, but now with more of a stylistic eye from what you've learned. All right? So have fun with that, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.